Can you take a 4 mistakes article, yes, 4, not 3, and turn it into a content empire? We're going to discover the answer to that question in just a moment. Welcome, everyone, to the Content Profit Show, episode 65. This is Jeff Herring, your host. I am so glad you guys are here, whether you're listening to the podcast, watching the live cast, live on a replay, whatever. Thank you for making this a popular show. You know, it started as a lark in September of last year and doing one show a week. Now we're doing 4 and booking into July. So that's because of you guys. So thank you very much. If you want to be on the show, I always get this backwards. Right over here, below my name is jeffherring.com/apply. If you want to do it in a hurry because, again, we're filling up July. So our special guest today is Mary Straczynski, and we've been having a great time talking beforehand because we come from different same worlds. She's in that world. I traded my couch for a mouse a few years back, as you know, but I absolutely love it. And so, Mary, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this.
I am too, because you've got great stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. How did you get into working with women that are dealing with burnout, exhaustion, all that kind of thing?
For 2 different reasons. One, I've been a clinician for over 30 years. And in private practice, I specialized in trauma, childhood trauma.
Okay.
And over time, I kept working with these women as adults and seeing how this was playing out for them in their everyday lives as adults. And so I really wanted to do more of that. But I also have a personal story with burnout and overwhelm because as an executive director of a national agency, I pretty much drove myself into the ground, ended up having a lot of health issues, and at one point, partially lost my eyesight in one of my eyes. Yeah.
Completely?
I thought there was something in my eye all the time.
Okay.
It was like a spot that was blocked.
Oh,
And they
that's
thought
scary.
that I had multiple sclerosis. It was very scary. And so this went on for months of lots of tests and MRIs and neurologists. And in the end, fortunately, it was not multiple sclerosis, but it was that the nerve in my brain wasn't so inflamed, it was blocking the vision. And in the end, it ended up being chronic stress. And so I knew that I had to make some changes in my lifestyle. And Jeff, I think there's a lot of information out there about burnout. I mean, there could be more, but I think a lot of it is written from the perspective of what does the employer or company have to do to change,
Right.
which is good. I mean, I'm glad about that. But when I went through it, I had to really ask myself, even as a clinician, what was going on with me? What was going on internally that I got myself in that environment, that I then stayed in that environment, even when I knew that there was consequences to myself.
Yep.
And so I really have a passion about helping other women with this. And I feel like it's actually gotten worse with
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
And during COVID, my clients felt so isolated and alone. And so it was at that point in time, I made the decision to start a community so that without crossing any therapeutic boundaries, they had a free community in which they could talk to each other and be a support for each other. And I just enjoyed serving them in that way so much.
That's
That's when I made the full transition to coaching.
I love that story and building community because I had a professor in grad school that was her specialty was groups, you know, and I just fell in love with her teaching because I'd been doing groups since I was 13. I got in trouble when I was 13. Long story, but it had to do with 70s recreational tobacco. And part of my punishment was having to join the Boy Scouts, right? I found out I could be a leader, and so ever since then, I've been doing some kind of group. And
Oh,
that sense of community is so huge. I get the burnout stuff too, because early to mid 80s, I was running the drug treatment center in my private practice, into that, and trying to finish up grad school. I've got the PhD because I never finished. Funny thing is, I didn't finish because my professors told me I couldn't write, and I believed them. And so, look how that turned out.
yeah.
But towards the beginning of the summer, my hands and my feet in the morning, I'd wake up, they're tingling, and then it'd be my face. And then it went to almost all the time going up my arms, up my legs. And I'm like, what really scared me, I was at the beach one day playing volleyball in the water. And the only reason I knew I was standing after going up for a shot was I wasn't drowning because I couldn't feel my feet. I came back to town and Carl Hempel, my doctor, we referred back and forth, and he was a doctor for the drug treatment center. So I called him up and said, Carl, you got to give me every test you got. I went in, I told him all about it, and he goes, Jeff, it's stress. I said, no, you got to give me every test you got, because remember, it was early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
And I had been, in running this camp one summer, I'd been bitten pretty severely by a little boy from Haiti.
Oh.
Right? And remember when it was intravenous drug users,
Yeah.
gay men, and Haitians, right? And I was convinced. I was just convinced.
Oh.
And he ran every test possible, and I was an incredibly healthy 25-year-old. And I'm like, so it's stress, huh? And he's like, yeah. So I totally get your story and what it can do.
Yeah.
I remember one time going out on my back deck and pulling the cover off my grill and just standing there with it in my hand. A couple buddies went, what? I said, I love to grill out, and I haven't taken this off in a year. And the places it shows up, I love what you're doing. So let's take a look at this article. Here we go. All right, 4 dangerous mistakes women make with burnout and what to do instead. I can tell you've been paying attention with these titles. And what a great graphic for what we're talking about. That looks pretty burnout to me.
Yeah.
And there it is. I'll never forget the morning I woke up with something in my eye. Now, folks, everybody, I want you to get a look at this. Okay? How would it be possible? This is for everybody out there. To read that first line and not read more. That is, Mary, that is an excellent hook. I love that hook. It's as good as it was a dark and stormy night.
I'm learning from you, Jeff. I really am.
It's my pleasure to help. And then mistake number 1, believing that burnout is simply working too hard or too much. You mean it's not? Yeah. What I love the what to do instead. It's a warning sign. Yep. And then thinking that working harder or taking a walk is the answer. Yeah.
Or taking a bubble bath. That's the other one, right?
That's right. Just get a little of those salts and put them in the bathtub, and you'll be fine. Right?
Yep.
Boy, this, yes. Just because you do this, you're probably the worst person to look at you.
Right. Exactly.
Mistake number 3, waiting for others to solve burnout for you. Yeah. Good luck with that. Nobody's coming. Mistake number 4, not listening to your inner voice. Yeah, I remember one time I think I took a day off from the drug treatment center and my private practice, and I was out somewhere in Florida on the trails in North Florida. And I just got to thinking, all right, who makes your schedule out at the private practice? Oh. And who makes your schedule out at the drug treatment center? Double O, because not only did I make out my schedule, I made out everybody else's. I'm like, I might have something to do with this.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet that was glorious when your eyesight returned.
Oh, and I was so fortunate because for some people that have that, they continue to have issues with their peripheral vision or their ability to see color. And I didn't have any of that. So I really was very fortunate.
That's a nice miracle. This
Yeah.
is a really good article, and I love the way you opened it. Now let's play with turning it into an empire.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've used the phrase "woman's burnout," and I think one of the first things we need to do is, and we may not come up with that today, but you mentioned earlier that you studied a lot of, and worked with a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
right? Do you know the name Charles Figley?
Yes.
Okay, he's a buddy of mine. He was a major professor at FSU, um, and so he's probably the king of traumatology, and started the phrase compassion fatigue.
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, that's the kind of burnout or fatigue you get when you do something where you care for people on
Yeah.
a daily basis. Like one of my colleagues once said, "You'll understand this, Mary." He goes, "Yeah, I got the fatigue. I just don't have the compassion right." And so I want to play with that with you now and later about what could we call this? You
Okay.
know, what's unique? A unique phrase. It could be. I mean, it could be burnoutology. Um, for
Hmm.
that just jumped in my head.
Okay.
Wow. Um, we'll check that one out. Woman's burnoutology or burnoutology has a great sound to it.
It does.
Um,
And I don't remember really seeing it anywhere else, actually. So I like that.
you know what? Never, ever, ever look up a domain name unless you intend to buy it,
Yeah.
because people snoop on those things and then buy them out from under you. But
Oh,
you can put it into a browser and check, and it takes me nowhere. So that's probably available. Um,
okay.
I, boy, I didn't think we'd come up with it that quick, but I like that. Um, that'll be our working title. Um, and how could we? Wondering how we can get women in there. Women's burnoutology. That's okay. It's all right. Um, all right. Enough. So you got the article. You've started on Medium. I saw. Very good.
Yeah.
Um, and your profile is great and catchy. We can play with that some. Now, you've got a couple of these pieces, right? You've got is it a membership or a course?
So it's one-to-one coaching still.
Okay.
It's a 90-day program, but
Okay.
I do offer an additional video lesson for them each week with a workbook on that particular topic. So I
Okay.
thought that could easily be turned into a course, but
Absolutely.
I did feel like it's a lot, right? There's a lot involved, and I was wondering about really making it so that they can have a quicker transformation, maybe doing more of a smaller course to start off.
I love it. There's so much we can do with that. And I've got some secrets to share um, about how to make even membership sites smaller and powerful. Because, eventually you're going to get like me, you're going to get tired of sitting in the chair talking to people. And this is one way to bring in some income. All right. So the first step would be, let's create an article for each of those four pieces of burnout we just looked at. Okay. Because um, you certainly didn't say everything you know about that in that small article, right? And so doing an article for each, what that's going to do with the regular medium traffic and then an article for each is drive people further in. They want to know more. And one of my thoughts is to have um, like a mini course on each one of those burnout signs, right? I just want to spell this and see how it looks. We got to make it bigger. Look at that. Come on. There we go. Burnoutology. That even has a nice look to it.
Yeah, it's a little catchy.
burnoutology, women's burnoutology. So you could have a course, a mini course on sign one, a mini course in sign two. And the cool thing is in a mini course, um, we're not talking about hours and hours of training. You know, a mini course can be an hour, 90 minutes. And you've already got a part of it with the article. Um, a brief video training, like you could do a brief video training on, let's go back and pull one of these. Um, okay, yeah, believing that burnout is simply working too hard or too much. Yep. A video training on that. That piece of article or that article could be in there too. And then a checklist. And what you've got lends itself so beautifully to checklist. Do you this? So then they're self-identifying, going,
Yeah, I love that idea.
I do need help. Kind of like taking abnormal psychology in school. Like, oh crap, that's me.
Right. You
All
start
right.
diagnosing.
That's right, and that's right. Now you could do a flagship course, and a short-term membership and a membership without making it too much. Okay, and this is how. And again, we're just dealing with one four-step thing we talked about, and there's so much more to burnoutology and traumatology. And I'm going to have after you get it and secure it, I'm going to have to tell Charles Figley about it, because he'll love it that happened. Anyway, so the myth about things like these three is that it's got to be just everything in the kitchen sink.
Right.
Right? And back when this internet world first started, there was some truth to that. They called it the thud factor. That when the box of stuff was delivered at your door, it made a thud.
Okay.
It had so much stuff. And I don't know about you, but there's so much. When I finally got rid of a lot of stuff last year, there was so much shelf help all around. You know. Ooh, I like that. Phil, one of my buddies here. Burnoutology is one of the greatest words I've ever.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the feedback.
And Phil, what I'm inviting you to do is write a song about it, pal. He's this guy. Okay, he's been a roadie for a lot of people that you would know, including he was a roadie for Elvis. Right?
Oh my goodness.
So he's got a couple stories.
My birthday is the same day as Elvis, as a matter of fact.
Really? August 18th?
No, his birthday is January 8th.
Oh, I was thinking the death. You're right.
Okay. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. I saw him. Boy, we're digressing, but we're having fun here. I saw him 6 months before he died in concert in Orlando, and it was incredible. I mean, you could tell he was ill, but it was still incredible. Anyway,
well, I love it. I'll have a little jingle now to go with, my empire.
Thank you. Hear that, Phil? Yeah. Okay. And so these three, one of the things I really look at is service delivery at two levels. Okay. How much you as the leader have to do, and then how much they as the consumer have to pay attention to. And every membership site I ever had that eventually fell apart was because there was too much content, and that was the reason they were leaving. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Recently, as 2 years ago, I was doing like a training a week, in addition to a free thing. And then I saw what was happening, and now my membership is like, it's a whole lot of courses and a whole lot of templates and one training and one Q&A a month. So you can do that. The super cool thing about a flagship course is it's something that identifies you, but it's simple. Okay. Just those three things we talked about: video, article, checklist, is all you would need to do. And let's say this was a 5-course flagship course, you're talking about video training around a half hour at most. Okay. So you don't got to do the 90-minute, 3-year things like back in, what was it, 04, 05, when I took teleseminar secrets from Alex Mendoza. And he'd start on Monday nights at 8 o'clock and then do Q&A. I remember staying up one night till 3 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
If I wanted to get on his radar and I wanted the answer to my question, and I had 7 o'clock clients the next morning, it was like, oh, hold my eyelids open. It's not that. That's not this world. That's no.
Right. And I think that's important, Jeff, because one, we're talking about women experiencing burnout, right? So they're probably women that are extremely busy. They're probably overextended, if
Yep.
anything, right? And so it can't be something that's going to take a lot of their time, or they're probably not going to do it. And also, I try really hard to be a role model for them as well. And so I want them to also see that I have boundaries, and I'm not going to spend 4 hours of my time either, right? Like I'm
Right.
trying to role model for them.
Right.
So yeah.
That's exactly right. So one of the tenets of burnoutology can be you can't help somebody with burnout by burning them out.
Love that.
There you go. And then some people, no matter what, will get nervous about committing to a monthly, right?
Yeah.
Like, will it ever end? And they learn that it's not that way. But one of the ways around that is with a short-term membership. And I think this is gold for you. And you kind of do that with your coaching program, but this would be without the one-on-one stuff.
Okay.
Right? Which lessens the service delivery for you. A lot of mine I've done have been 10 to 12 weeks, and short stuff. Like one of the ones I had, Article Marketing for Beginners, they got a PDF and a video a week for 12 weeks.
Okay.
That was the only access. You can increase it by giving them homework, and they got to send it back to you, and you send back to them, so they get a little bit more of you. But the cool thing about doing something like this is that, like back then, I charged $37 a month for 3 months, so it came out to like $111, something like that. I may be wrong. I don't want to do math in public.
Yeah. Me either. I'm a social worker, right?
Yeah, exactly. Numbers? What?
Yeah.
Did you have to take any stat courses?
Oh, yes.
As soon as I said it, I saw your face.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the person did not speak English well either. So yeah, I have bad memories of that.
You'll appreciate this story on 2 levels. I took a course called ANOVA, Analysis of Variance, and it is the dumbest I've ever felt in my life. That summer, it was like, I have no idea what's going on in this room, but you got to see if all you did was show up and participate. Okay?
Oh gosh.
Thank you for that. See, 5-6 years later, that professor brings his kid into my practice and his family. And I'm sitting there interviewing him, on the intake. And I waited till the end. We were wrapping up, and I kind of looked at him. I said, "Good thing you didn't flunk me, huh?"
I love it.
Yeah. And so one of the cool thing I'm getting at is, once somebody has paid you $37 a month for something, the notion of getting into a $37 a month membership, they're already trained, they're accustomed to paying you $37 a month. And the cool thing about doing a membership, I mean, I'm thinking in terms of what limit do we have on the number of people, because this is such a prevalent thing, and you're doing it and are going to do it in a way that's unique. Okay. And so that's the whole thing. If you're going into a niche where there's lots of stuff, do it differently than anybody else. And so, you can do a membership where, here's the cool thing. People put off their memberships forever trying to find the right platform. Okay.
Yep.
You don't need to do that. You can do a membership completely by email, a PDF and a video, and that's the whole thing. Okay. And another way to do it, and a lot of people either forget this or don't know it, in a WordPress blog, you can password protect pages, and you do it for free. So don't worry about that to start. Maybe later on you'll need that level, but you don't got to do it to start. And here's some other cool. These are numbers that you and I will understand.
Okay.
Um, People that take, and this has been true for the 17 years I've been doing this. People that take mini courses or flagship courses, about a third of them end up over here. Right?
Okay.
If you've got 10 people, you're going to get 3 new members. If you got 100, you're going to get 33, thereabouts. The people that do short-term memberships, about 50% of them end up over here.
Okay.
And so what we've got here is this flow. Really, I call it an ascension model. As they just get more and more involved with you. And some people, I've had people tell me this, Mary, and I think it's nuts, that they make their clients start back here, at the smallest thing, and then work their way up. And I'm like, okay, because to me, every one of these is an on ramp.
Yeah.
Someone might start here, they might come all the way here to start. So making sense so far?
It does. And I like that because are you saying they get the option of where their entry is?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And because, some people may not be ready for something the first time you talk with them, they will be later. And so, yeah, every part is a roadmap. And the cool thing about this is that, this is basically an empire here. And there's some building out to do, but what I really am excited about for you is, one, I can just tell from your expression, you're getting a glimpse of what's possible, which is cool. And you can dominate this market in the same way Chuck Figley has his, because here we are, 2 people that have never met, right? Different parts of the country, different backgrounds in helping people, and we both know who he is, right?
Yes, right.
And he put himself on the map with traumatology, with Greenpeace, with compassion fatigue, and so burnoutology is yours. And when we get done talking afterwards, go buy that domain.
I was actually just thinking that.
That's your first assignment after we get done with the post stuff. All right, we've been having so much fun. We've gone way past 20, but we could go hours on this. But let's not do that. Talk about service delivery. Any questions so far?
No, I'm really excited. I love the different entry levels. I love having options for people that are in different stages, right? Yeah. So I really do like that. And cool. I like, do you see a community option or maybe group coaching option?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm.
Because this could be group coaching, that could be group coaching.
Yeah.
You could do it you could do it at any place along here.
Yeah.
It would be, all of these are communities, but it would be a disservice to both you and your clients to not do some kind of community.
Yeah.
Because there's so much power in that. In Tallahassee, it is brutally hot in the summer. We called it 4-H days, hot, humid, hazy, and 100. So anybody that had extra income was, in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia. And so everybody told me when I opened my practice was just expect, a drought in the summer, and because I was told to expect it, it happened,
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this concept called Bravo, BRAAVO, and it's a motivational thing. And so I decided in the spring, all right, I'm not going to have a bad summer. I'm going to have a great summer. And I created this short-term group, in-person group with about 7 people doing the Bravo approach. And those people are still in touch with each other, and some of them check in with me. And we're talking 20 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
So yeah, absolutely. Community through all of this, and community as part of it. Absolutely. And we can talk about different ways to do that within. And then, I mean, one way to frame it was, the burnoutology community for women, something like that. It's a
Yeah.
little too wordy, but and they may pay. That could be an entry level for you, where they pay like, $7 or $10 a month, right? And get a taste of it and then move on. I've got a buddy named Liz Wilcox. Her whole thing is email marketing.
Yeah,
And
I belong to her membership. Her
do you
email.
really? Oh, look at all
Yeah,
these connections. I love it. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
whopping $9 a month, right?
yeah.
And who's going to get rid of that, right?
Right.
Especially for how she over delivers. And she's up to about 2,600 people now.
Wow.
You know what her goal is, and if anybody could do it, you'll understand this. Liz could with her personality. Her goal is to get up to 100,000 members.
Yeah, I think she could do it.
Me too. Now,
Yeah.
900K a month, I could live on that. How about you?
Oh, definitely, definitely. But yeah, what I love, Jeff, is being in the field for such a long time. Like you said, obviously there's a lot of knowledge there, a lot of skill. For me, the hardest part is really narrowing it down into bite-sized pieces that they
Yeah.
really can take and do something with it right away. And so I love that one of the things I really appreciate about you is your ability to not make it harder than it has to be, right? So it's very helpful to me.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for saying that, because people, if I'm going to do it, it's got to be simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just the way my brain works. And a lot of times people will think I'm some big techno guy, right? And I'm like, no. I just know what buttons to push and what order to push them in to help people, help others, and make money. My oldest son, John, he's in IT with North Point Ministries. It has like 10 churches in the Atlanta area. And they all have Macs, right? And I'll call him up or text him with, what he considers the dumbest question in the
world. Yeah.
But not dumb to me, because I don't know. It took me about 3 times of them laughing at me to design my comeback, which was, John, stop laughing at me. I taught you how to use a spoon.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. But yeah, keeping it simple. Not only, well, think about it this way. You love that I do it. Your folks are going to love that you do it.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of the burnout reading I've done, it's like incredibly complicated. Like you're familiar with NLP, right?
Right.
Okay, so the guys that invented it were brilliant, Bandler and Grinder, and they had great covers for their books, but they were excruciatingly complicated and boring.
Yeah.
And then this guy, big guy with big teeth, came along and took NLP and turned it into street language. And Tony Robbins has done okay for himself.
Yeah.
Because he just simplified it. So yay. You're going places with this. All right, we got to wrap up because we're just having too much fun. All right, thank you for being such a great guest and bringing such great stuff. And folks, thank you all for hanging out with us. There's a lot of value in this all the time, but especially for you in this show, in the length we went to, because of all you can get out of it. If you want to be sitting in Mary's seat someday, not at her home office there, but in your own, you go right over here. I want to get this down one day, right over here, jeffherring.com/apply, and we'll get you in. And so, Mary, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I am too for you. All right. And folks, until the next show, you know what to do. Go use this stuff.